Hello and welcome to Elseworlds as we discuss Creature Commandos, Episode 3. Cheers to the Tin Man. My name is Jordan. With me, as always, is Chris. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing so wonderfully. Cheers to the Tin Man. Oh, what an episode.
Yeah, this was, look, I saw a lot of people that maybe were a little bit skeptical after Episodes 1 and 2. Really enjoyed Episode 3 here. Of course, features my boy, G.I. Robot here, my favorite character. Unfortunately, seems like he's not long for the world here. He's a robot, though. They can rebuild him, right? I'm not crazy.
No, they can rebuild him. It actually can be like a funny little B plot for a little bit too. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if that drags on a bit. But yeah, man, he dies in this episode. What are the
Yeah.
chances?
Yeah. No,
Spoiler
but
warning.
yeah, of course. We're going to be discussing spoilers here. We're talking Cheers to the Tin Man, Episode 3, directed by Matt Peters, written by James Gunn, of course, premiered December 12th, 2024 on Max. And it is, an episode just like how we got with The Bride in Episode 2, flashbacks interspersed throughout the main story. We get all of G.I. Robot's backstory in this episode, and I think that worked so well because look, he was already like my favorite character just because of how, I guess, silly he is and how much he wants to kill Nazis and stuff. I thought that was funny. But we get to see so much stuff here that moved me to tears both times I watched this episode.
This one didn't get to me that way. And I'm usually the one who's the little crybaby. But
I'll tell you the part
it was
that
emotional.
really. I'll tell you the first watch, it was a different part that got me. The second watch, it was an even different part that got me. So, we'll talk about them when we get there. But let's start off. We have Rick and crew arriving to Frankenstein Mansion, and apparently, I guess from the trackers implanted in them, they see that the bride and Nina are inside the manor. Where we left off with them, they were, Nina was having problems breathing, and the bride was having her inflatable arms, and
Mm.
having some problems laying there while they got moved into the inside. And of course, people suspect that it is a trap. I love this part too. The bride is like yelling, and they're like, "Oh, it must be a trap." But she's like, "I've been yelling for you to just get this thing off of me."
So
And
realistic.
yeah, it's like, not any kind of warning. I just want this off of my mouth. But we get flashbacks here at this point to G.I. Robot with Easy Company during World War II, where we see him with Sergeant Rock and the rest of that crew there taking out Nazis. Some pretty graphic opening too, because we have like, what is it, this part I think where you see the guy grabbing his intestines and trying to put them back in.
There was very the Suicide Squad with the
Yes.
way they do that. Eyeballs just flying out.
Yes. Yeah. But no, I really enjoyed this flashback here. This is, GI Robot. We learned that this time for him was a really important time, right? He was, when he's with Will Magnus later on, he will say like, I just want to, like, I would hang out with my boys, right? And I think it's so funny he
Easy
uses that
company,
term
yeah.
too. He says like,
Hmm.
want to get the boys together. Not something you usually think a robot would say, but yeah, Easy Company is who he's referring to. He gives, Will Magnus the whole list of what they've, their names and how we went and killed Nazis together. But this time was a very important time for him. This is, his default setting is to go kill Nazis. And of course, World War II is the height of that. So of course he would like this, and think back to this time so fondly.
Yeah, I he has plenty of landscapes with dead Nazis in them. So
Yeah,
and
so he
he
could
created the dead
appreciate that.
Nazis. Yeah. What I liked about this flashback was that he seemed just so at peace with like doing what he was doing. There's like I feel like with a soldier, even with a bad guy, there's like this hesitation of I'm taking a life, and GI Robot's like killing Nazis. Let's go. And I think we saw how strong GI Robot is in this. He doesn't look strong, so to see the feats that he does in this, even like when he's helping friend Nina with
Yeah,
the
lifting the
bathtub.
tub. Yeah.
Yeah. GI Robot, pretty pretty damn OP for some of this episode. I was pretty impressed. I love how he calls her friend Nina too. Hi,
We
friend Nina.
we kind of get our first hint here that Cersei is not maybe the main villain by
There's something else going on.
keeping the bride and Nina alive. She didn't have to do that. And especially Nina was already like what out of water, a fish out of water at that point. They could have just left her be, but they put her in the tub. They just make sure they put some wiring around it so she can't get out. But obviously, I think she could have killed the bride, but she made her arms inflatable instead. There is something going on here that is alluded to at the end of the episode and in the preview for next week, which we'll see how that goes. But I think here at this point, this is a big hint. I think that Cersei is not evil, or not fully evil by not killing the people that she could have easily killed at that point. So we'll get more theories on that later, but we get another flashback here where GI Robot is on the TV, and again, this is great. He's searching the crowd, like, did you get the identification on all of these people? And there's a meme going around now with him squinting his eyes with that's what a Nazi would say. Really, really great. But look, during this, Dr. Will Magnus is watching and is offering to buy him from the military. And this is, of course, comic book character Will Magnus from his first appearance, Showcase number 37 in 1962. But he is the creator of the Metal Men. And I really love how they tied this in with GI Robot, that he is using GI Robot's tech and like studying him so he can go on to make his Metal Men in the 60s here, as he'll mention, the war was 20 years ago. But yeah, the Metal Men have kind of been more popular lately. Like, I think they showed up in some of the animated films. I know that they were in the New 52 as well pretty heavily. So I like the Metal Men enough. So I think it'd be cool having them
Yeah, I
in
have
the
no
universe.
objection. I have no objection. But I think my favorite part there was he's being introduced to the stage, and he goes, "Why am I pudding?"
Yeah.
That's the type of sense of humor that I have. I was just like bawling, like laughing. It was awesome. And then have you gone through everyone's identification cards?
Yes, that part is so great.
Why
And
would we do that?
the crowd laughing along like this is some sort of joke, and then as he starts getting more serious, they get quiet like and I start getting worried, is he going to shoot up all these people? Thankfully,
I can see why he got sent to Magnus, but yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed that scene.
So during this, we also get going back to the during that scene too, when he's like, what would you do if you had like free will? And he's like, hang out with the boys and go kill Nazis together. Like, like it's not just part of his directive, it's something he actually enjoys doing. So
He's very one note. He's kind of like a guy who all he wants to do is chase women. All he wants to do is kill Nazis. It's
the Barney
very much,
Stinson, just go
yeah.
after women the whole time.
Yeah, it's are you a Nazi? He's disappointed when someone's not a Nazi because he doesn't get to kill them.
Rick Flag and the group go back to the castle. They realize now Cersei was, using this as a little bit of a distraction so they could leave the princess unattended. Princess is almost captured by Soft, Sons of Themyscira here. Of course, we have them being a little creepy with grabbing her butt or slapping her butt.
I did not care for that.
Well, yeah, it's to show how evil they are.
I get it. It worked.
We get a really cool fight scene when they arrive, though, when the guy is getting ready to pull out the grenade and the van just comes in and hits him and he explodes and then his foot goes and hits somebody else in the head. And you have Doc Phosphorus using his powers to phase the bullets, disintegrate the bullets. And then he just impale somebody and is like shish kebab. Phosphorus is cool as well. I really love Doc Phosphorus.
You always feel like Doc Phosphorus has another level of things he can do with his powers that he hasn't even touched yet.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing his OP moment, this moment where he's just the problem. I can't wait for that.
And then we get really the heart of the flashback episode for me, which is, we have Sam Fitzgibbon, who's trying to buy G.I. Robot from this place. And they mention he's bounced around from lab to lab. And G.I. Robot finds a friend in Sam and the cats, right? They're watching movies together. You have Sam even caring for him by giving him a coat, right? It's hard to get the rust out of your joints. We have him say the line, "It's nice to have a family, ain't it?" And that's where I first started tearing up the first time. The first watch through, I was like, G.I. Robot is finding a family. It takes a really dark turn here in a little bit.
I thought that was a pretty dark turn. It's nice to have a family. You got 8 cats, a bunch of cat toys. It's creepy, dude. No, I thought I didn't tear up because I was like, I don't want to be part of this family.
Why? Okay, take out the Nazi part, but
no,
you don't know that.
Before I even knew it, he's this unhinged guy who wanted to be in the military but the damn leg, which is kind of fishy, and he's got a World War II collection.
There's people that are not crazy though. I'll defend this part here. I think this is supposed to give us...
He seemed a little unhinged.
I don't think he seemed unhinged at all. I really don't, until we get to Hub City. But I think he was very, it seemed like he was a collector, right? He wanted to collect stuff. He found G.I. Robot. They're watching movies together. He has his cats. It was a very yes, this guy's lonely, and he found a friend in G.I. Robot as much as G.I. Robot.
Well, I'm thinking this is very nice to have a family, and G.I. Robot's got the cats on him. I'm like, is this a Norman Bates thing? Does he got his mom in the basement or something?
Oh my God. I don't think you were supposed to get that vibe. I don't think
I got that vibe. I didn't. My radar just went, nope.
Okay. Well, they go to a meetup here, and he's like, "Where are we going?" "Oh, we're going to a meetup." This is where I started getting suspicious when he says, "With a bunch of people interested in a better country." I'm like, okay, here we go.
So I didn't expect the Nazi part.
Oh, I
did. I just thought he was going to be like a redneck, KKK guy, and then, which is kind of the vibe I was getting anyway. But then it was like, oh God, or as G.I. Robot says,
"Oh boy."
Yeah.
Yeah, but on the ride there, he says, "Cheers for the Tin Man," and it's him trying to relive that from World War II, right? When he killed all those Nazis, and they're like, "Cheers for the Tin Man." That is what he's trying to find again, right? And they get to Hub City, and then you kind of get the turn here when Sam's like, "Hey," they're introducing him to G.I. Robot. He says that he might be some help for the cause. So I've seen some people say "Oh, he shouldn't have killed those Nazis," right? But also they were going to use G.I. Robot for their cause. That is hinted to right here. It's plainly spoken. He sees, the 88 on the neck of people. There's other Nazi symbols he's seeing. And you see him say unsettling. He's like, "Oh, And then he sits down and they say, "Welcome to Hub City Socialist Club." And he says, "Oh boy, Nazis. What's that, GI?"
Yeah.
He doesn't say anything.
Look, don't give me the they were poor innocent Nazis act.
Yeah.
They had violent intent.
They did. They wanted to have a robot who was able to shoot people. I think they were going to do some bad stuff.
Yeah, it reeks a little bit of Charlottesville in there. It reeks. But dude, this scene was like the music starts going, and then you start going to the current time with the soft people,
Yes.
and then it's so good. And then you saw the Magnus upgrades.
Yes,
Because
when he hovers.
he detaches from his legs, he hovers, and he's got like 3 guns pronged. It's like, dude, that is badass.
Yep. Well, we have
He's this
also
coin operated boys song.
real quick, Hub City is the home of the Question. So that's another DC character. So we have Hub City existing in the DCU. Nice little reference to that. And then you get what we thought was going to happen last week, right? Where like he says, "Are these Nazis, General?" And Rick Flag's like, "Yes, they are, GI. Yes, they are." And he starts firing on them.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't lay it on thicker. Be like, he's desperate. Like, sure, they were with Hitler.
Really, just A+ on the song choice too. I had not heard this song, but when it started playing,
but yeah,
I'm like, this is perfect for GI Robot, coin operated boy. Yeah, so he goes off. He's killing somebody. It cuts between like him at killing them all in Hub City and him killing all the soft people. He gets arrested. He's found guilty. He's charged with 32 killed in cold blood, and he sits in jail pretty much waiting for his purpose.
Does he not like have an off button or something, or just let him run out of gas? Yeah.
Well, he was off, right? Like that's how Sam found him. Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I it's a little weird to see him get like that was the most hard to follow thing is this robot is on trial. Other than that,
they determined that he fits the definition of a man. And I could, honestly, I could see that happening with them being like, we just need to like put this on somebody, right? Like I feel like
though? I feel like he did society a favor.
Yeah, but like when you look at it as like, I'm sure their lawyers used freedom of speech and like they weren't actually doing anything. They were just meeting up. Like
they were just arms dealing with a GI robot. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but I mean, like I could see like the lawyers doing that to a case where they're like, you know what? It's a robot. It's not going to hurt anybody if we put them on trial. So let's just do it.
Fair enough.
In the jail, we get some cameos here as he's walking past. We get Animal Vegetable Mineral Man, which is a villain. Scarlet Centipede, which is a Wonder Woman villain. And the Fisherman, which is an Aquaman villain. So we get those as he's walking past the cells. Just pretty cool. But
didn't even notice most of them. I was like, they're weird.
Yeah, Animal Vegetable Mineral Man is the guy with the dinosaur arm or head, coming out. GI Robot is blown up by Cersei. She goes in to fly to the castle. Weasel comes in and takes her by surprise.
Oh man, Weasel, you savage!
Doc Phosphorus fries her head, and we get like a little bit of a shift here, and Bride's like, "You wanted monsters? You got monsters." And Nina finds GI Robot's head, and we kind of get GI Robot's last lines of, "Friend Nina, we fought Nazis together, you and I. What a beautiful day. Cheers for the turn."
You do Sean Gunn's voice pretty good.
It was, this kind of is a nice callback to what episode 1 when she's talking about like a beautiful sunset, and he's like, I can't really enjoy landscapes without dead Nazis. Well, he's able to say it's a beautiful day today because he took out some Nazis in his eyes.
At least in his eyes.
But we get
Although-
Cersei being like, "Hey, you idiots! You've doomed the world," and that's where we end the episode.
Yeah. And that's a great cliffhanger.
Yeah, so in the trailer, if people haven't seen that, I'll just quickly share my thoughts on the preview for this week, where it says, she mentions a vision she's seen, and she shows it to Waller and I think a few others, and that is where we have seen screenshots in the trailer and stuff before of Superman and others being dead. I saw an interesting theory about this, Chris. The blaster bolts that are being fired are pink, and that's what the soldiers, the guards for the princess, use. Pink blaster bolts. So people think that maybe the princess is an issue, and she will. I don't know. Some people still think maybe the Clayface theory, but others think maybe she's just somehow gets. I don't know if it's like she's always been evil or something happens after this point, because then you could still have Cersei be evil in that sense of like, oh, she was taking out like, the how people always question about baby Hitler, like go back in time before he's evil and kill him as a baby. It's like, okay, well, is he innocent at that point, or is it not? So like maybe has this vision and the princess isn't evil yet, but she's like, let's just take her out before she turns evil, or maybe she's evil this whole time. We don't know, but it does seem like maybe the princess is somebody that we should be worried about.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, theories?
I'm just kind of waiting to see where it goes. I don't have a developed theory. I'm glad I don't feel like the Clayface thing is building towards it, because I didn't like that theory. But
just wait until they reveal she's been Clayface this whole time.
Son of a. We started with Clayface, we might as well end with Clayface.
Yeah. But yeah, so that is coming up, and next week's is also, or this week's episode, I guess, is Weasel, that we're going to get the background on. So we're going to get some background on Weasel, which I had a theory before that he did not kill those kids. In the trailer, it says that, Rick mentions he killed 27 kids, and the lawyer for Weasel says he was only charged with 8, like he only killed 8 or something. And
interesting.
In the trailer, to me, it looks like he's trying to save them from a fire and is misconstrued. It would be my thought. And I think that would make sense because we haven't seen Weasel really go savage except for on Cersei here, which is the appropriate time to have gone savage.
It's the right call.
Yeah. That's my thoughts on those. But
he definitely was a monster this episode, though. Like wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was. All right. Well, I guess that's about it. I really enjoyed Cheers to the Tin Man. I hope GI Robot can get fixed and back up, but it wouldn't shock me if this is a very like Suicide Squad-esque show where some of these characters are dead going forward. It's a little tougher with GI Robot because you'd think they'd be able to build him a new body and stick his head on it, but they could probably come up with a reason why that's not possible. But yeah,
but it shows that it has stakes. I mean, it's just no meaningless episode.
Right. Hopefully we don't get a trend of like the person whose flashback it is the one that dies.
Oh no,
Weasel would be next.
I don't want that.
No. All right. Well, that'll wrap us up here for our Creature Commandos discussion. Next week, of course, we'll have episode 4 discussion, which is called Chasing Squirrels, which will premiere the 19th. Also on the 19th is Superman's trailer release. So we'll be having an episode discussing that sometime late Thursday, early Friday. You should be able to listen to that, hopefully. Mm-hmm. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for our Superman trailer discussion.
If you think we can't get an hour out of 50 seconds of footage, you do not know us.
Yeah, true. Well, at elseworldsdcfan on all of our social media. Have a great rest of your week or couple days, and we'll see you next time when we talk Superman trailer.